Hey everyone, well, okay. You ready to start? Cool. Okay, so my name is Rif Kiamil. I'm the IT manager at JJ of part-time and full-time at Cisco Group for DCX. So today we're basically having a virtual session, which is your opportunity to pass your feedback back to Cisco and us, and hopefully we can collect some of that information and use it to drive the product forward. Just so everyone's aware, this session is being recorded and broadcasted live around the world. We have about 60 people online right now watching this, so anything you say is being recorded. So if you want to change your name, maybe Bill Gates, Steve Baldwin, John Jacobs, Bill. So, if my panel would like to introduce themselves from Cisco, I'm with Gerry McKeon.
Sure, my name is Gerry McKeon. I'm on the product management team for Contact Center Express. My name is Sandstrom. I am the quality management product manager with Calabrio.
My name is Gloria, and I'm a senior software engineer working at CCBU with specialization in Crosby.
And I'm Gerry Johnsen, I'm also product manager with Calabrio for the Cisco WFO solution for Express. Hello, I'm the product manager working on Express with Cisco.
Crosby, Cisco. What I do, reporting and analytics.
Okay, so what I'd like to do first is just get an idea for who is in the room. So who in the room is a customer and user of the product? Okay, who are partners? Okay, so mostly partners. And who is Cisco? Okay, cool. Anyone from Riot? Okay. So first thing I'd like to do is just a quick, we're going to do some random prize giveaways. So first person is a Pop Cisco employee. Who can tell me the directory folder where CRS engine is installed on Windows Server? Sorry? There you go. You are. There you go. No. And people from Derby can answer. He already knows all the answers to their questions. So. Okay, cool. So now we know everyone in the room. I want to spend the first 10-15 minutes. If anyone's got any things they want to get off their chest, there we go. Do you want to come to the mic?
Yeah. How many minutes?
Bonnie, you ready to start taking notes?
Okay. I am very confused by what is going on with your product. I am very confused how my customers who are running Call Manager X are effectively stuck. How I cannot migrate them to newer products that Cisco is pushing us to, particularly Communications Manager 6.x, Presence, all these fantastic things that half your company is talking about. I cannot move my customers to because of your product. I'm stuck. We're handcuffed. We have no way to migrate them to Contact Center 5. In the spirit of anything, I feel like every year we're told, going back 3 networkers now, this will all be fixed. In IPCC Express 5, and Contact Center 6, and now 7, and now I'm here at 8. There's going to be the time when I'm finally going to get one from Call Manager 4.x without a forklift install, and more importantly, losing historical reporting, which is not an option for, I would say, 98% of our customer base in here. I can't speak for everyone. So, I guess in the spirit of what he was just talking about, getting something off your chest, that would be it. I feel like, other than new installs, which are going in with Contact Center Express 5, they're happy with the product, no real complaints from that aspect, but we feel like there's, at least in the partner world, we feel like there's more focus right now on the third-party OEM apps, the Clarios, the WIM, and the EIM. I feel like there's way more attention, too much attention being spent to the OEM products, as opposed to, hey, let's get the current product going so that my existing customer base aren't stuck.
Thanks.
What was your name?
I'm Jason.
Jason from
E-Velocity.
Thank you. So I'm sure everyone shares Jason's feelings. I know I do.
And we know that it's an incredible pain point for those of you who are selling the product and for those of you who have the product and want to migrate to the later unified communications managers to some of these really cool features. It is the case that we've been saying that we're going to address this in different releases, and we haven't been able to do that. We're challenged in terms of being able to deliver on feature velocity and revenue, as well as being able to deliver a complete functional feature set that includes upgrades. Now, we do have an internal commitment that by the end of June, that we will have a plan to be put before the business unit that says what we can do to address some of these issues that are preventing people from being able to migrate. And in our opinion, and we'd like to hear from you on this, in our opinion, the key one is being able to migrate the historical data. I mean, you could migrate the historical data, but we basically leave it to the partners or to the customers to figure out how to do that. And I think that the number one priority is to be able to provide a Cisco-supported solution on how to move the database from earlier release to firewall or so on. So if anybody wants to comment on that, that'd be fine. Jason?
I'd be happy to accept a third-party tool, well, not third-party, but a separate tool.
It would be a separate tool.
Allow me to install it. Very similar to doing a call manager migration or whatever. You know, sucks the data, a lot like DMA for familiar with call.
So if we did the config data and we did the CDR data,
I'd certainly love to see it get, you know, skills, views, I'd love to see it.
Well, that would be in that config data.
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to, I think we're talking to the rest of the world too. I would love to see a separate tool that was able to do this. Historical data is by far the most important. In the grand scheme of things, at least for my audience here, but most of my installs are probably 50 seats or below. It wouldn't be that big of a pain in the rump to me to reconfigure queues and copy scripts over. And I know there's a document on your website that explains basically here's how to do it, kind of in quotes. I'd be comfortable with that. Historical reporting data is by far the most important piece. But if you're going to write something like that, I'd certainly like to see it get config data as well if you can. But historical data isn't easy.
No, we would need to, in order for historical reports to run correctly,
I guess
we
right.
need config data.
Okay, so there you go.
So if we do that, then is there anything else that's a real showstopper? Because I know it still can be painful having to, well, really, you got the config data, you got the CDRs that you're set both from the config as well as from reporting. So now you've got things like workflows. Chris, what else would it be that we would need to address? Or Gloria, do you have any ideas? Okay, that's anyway our thinking. So we're open to other feedback. Did you put in the slides the TNAs?
No, okay.
So for those of you
using the user group anyway.
Okay. Well, do you want them to do that?
Yeah. I mean, we'll go through that.
So what I want to do is just invite everyone here, as well as those who are online, to send us any feedback you may have on this. Now, in terms of this being officially supported as a product, we're going to have an express installer-supported path to migrate everything in the way that you normally have. That is a committed feature. It's concept committed, not yet execute committed, but we feel that it will be in late July, August timeframe to be delivered in 8.0. Now, at that time, at the minimum, we will have direct upgrades from 6.0 and 7.0 to 8.0. But we may, where other users may have to do an interrupt upgrade to one of those to get to 8.0. But we also hope the 4.0 install base, which is quite large, as well as the 5.0 install base, which will also be quite large by AWS. So these are our plans. We have a short-term plan in June to come back and say, here's what we're going to do. It's going to take some time to do it, so maybe several more months after that before we can do it, and then address the problem once and for all in AWS.
I'd be comfortable if you wrote this, if you had a separate tool or whatnot, if you just targeted Contact Center Express 7. I think would be acceptable. I'd say at this point, who cares about 5, who cares about 6, let's focus on 7. Since by the time you have this tool written, I'm assuming that's going to coincide pretty closely with communication, the System 7 release.
The tool that we're doing would be for 7.
Okay, yeah. I heard you mention 5, so I'm fine with it just doing 7.
Okay.
Figure out how to deal with our customer base.
No, what I was saying is, I was just,
Yeah.
in terms of the short term, it's going to be for 7, absolutely.
Does anyone else have any other concerns about moving to 7 apart from historical? Does anyone else want to bring anything else?
What about new customers?
New customers on 7?
Yes. We're looking at,
Could you come to the mic there, please?
Yeah, just so you know, since we're broadcasting this, not everyone's going to be able to hear unless you come to the mic.
what would be some of the recommendations that you would offer for the new customers as far as the roadmap, getting everything set up, installed, configured? We're already doing an installation for us, and we just want to make sure that we're getting everything that we need for our value, and ensure that they're not just offering up a turnkey solution that may not fit our needs. What would be some of the recommendations maybe from panels or even from current customers or a new customer that's just now getting into the call center?
You don't already have a full customer.
We're in the process of actually having it deployed now.
But you already have a full center in your company? Or?
We already have a call center in our company, but as far as going with the Cisco solution, that's where we're at right now.
Well, in my opinion, like, if you're migrating, I would always plan what extra value you could get from the product. Because just moving from a system X or system Y and doing exactly the same thing, you know, you're never going to show the business value in what you're doing. So always say, okay, maybe day one we'll do exactly the same thing, but we use all these extra features to get these values and show that back to the business. So that's always the way I try and do anything in the company I work at. So look at the features of the partner. What can this product do for me more than sending a call to an agent? How can it help my business? How can it drive productivity? So
as far as the new implementation, do you see concerns with older equipment, like let's say systems that are not compatible with newer call center systems that tie into IVRs and other things like that?
I mean, the CCX7 which I'm running on right now, I mean, it's a path that's going down, so there should be no Cisco changing anything in the future. But saying that, the call manager team have changed their installation 5 times in 7 years. So whatever the call manager team decides they will do.
So when you say older equipment, are you saying you want to reuse an IVR, for instance?
Well, we want to move all of our older IVR and our old PBA and get into a new solution from Cisco.
So you're looking for a single vendor solution that will accomplish and provide all the features that we want.
Right, and we have the vendor and we have the basic outline laid out.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just now working on timelines and for implementation. We are heading that way, so we just upgrade our wide area network so we can support whatever needs we have using MPLS. And what we're trying to do is come up with a solution that we're all talking the same language, so they are definitely meeting our requirements. What would be the strategy to ensure that with Cisco call, our unified systems will actually allow us to gain everything that we can get out of it?
Well, that's a question with very, very broad scope. There is a large set of best practices for Contact Center Express and another set of best practices for unified communications in general, both at the LAN, WAN, and application level, like Unified Communications Manager and other voice apps that you may want to have in Express. So I don't know that this is, in this venue, we can go into that kind of detail. But if you have a Cisco Unified Communications Advanced Technology certified partner, those partners should be well trained in those best practices to be able to take you through step by step what you need to do.
Okay, is there any retrospective, like lessons learned that customers here are going to see that maybe
we're good at and the customers will be best positioned to tell you about the...
And that's part of the information that I'd like to look forward to. That way we don't hit any of those examples.
Rip would be a good way for him to engage after...
Come to London. Come to London and see what we're doing. Commit to Cisco account manager to pay these come to London.
Thank you. Okay, thanks very much.
Got a question on the web?
Yep.
You might have to repeat this.
I can repeat it.
All right. Let's see. When will Cisco support a single login, a single point of managing ready states for agents when using email, chat, and answering calls, single logon, single ready, not ready state?
there's single sign-on.
Could we repeat it?
Okay, so the person's asking about single sign-on.
It's about managing agent states from a single point.
Okay.
And then furthermore, managing agent states for multi-channel.
And it's like on universal queue. So this is managing agent state from a single point of administration, and then moreover managing agent state in a multi-channel environment.
So, in general, things in terms of feature planning and the time frames for features. How many people here aren't up to date on? Well, actually, there's a lot of people online. So let me just say it briefly. In August, we'll be coming out with our 7.0 release, and in fall of calendar year 2009, we'll be coming out with our 8.0 release. So both of those releases are now fully subscribed in terms of content that we can get in. So for all of your suggestions that are coming up, and this is a good one, and there are no doubt going to be others, that will be in our 9.0 or later release. So we're not going to be in a position right now, without having done the due diligence, to, one, rank all these features and find out how much effort it is to implement them, commit to a time frame. For this particular one, which I'd say is really unified queuing, is universal queuing is probably the way to go there. Definitely on our roadmap, and the first opportunity we have to adjust it was in late 2000, calendar year 2010.
Bonnie, that's on this. Yeah, universal queuing. And also we can add the historical migration as well. So I think we just want to get a list of features and then prioritize them with you guys at the end. So.
Could somebody help manage the microphone? So he needs to take notes, and somebody needs to give him the microphone.
I do have a question.
Well, we're not going to be able to move the mic to the back of the room, so if you do have a question on it, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Unfortunately, I missed the roadmap class, which was strategically scheduled for 8 a.m.
You like that, huh?
Strategic, and I know that. Did you talk at all about high availability over the WAN, which is a critical feature for my...
Bonnie, can you add the features for this high availability of the WAN?
If it wasn't talked about, then yeah, I guess.
No, it was. It was, but I think it is a critical feature, and it's probably of interest to many people on the session. So let me repeat that information. Let me tell you what I talked about.
Terry, before we go into that, I'd like to discuss a little bit with what you guys expect from high availability over the WAN. Okay. Because I was chatting to Andy last night, and I think you guys might expect more than we actually require to a certain extent for page A. I mean, in my opinion, if I've got two sites, the question is, okay, I've got one node of each site for CRS or CCX or whatever you want to call it nowadays. Do I need two core managers at each site, or can I go with having one CTR manager at each site? That's like the first thing. Secondly, I know there's a whole split brain issue. If there is a failure, in my opinion, having head share of the WAN, if I need to reboot the server once, would be fine with me to re-establish sync or a statefulness type of process. It doesn't have to be as well as it is today. But I just need the ability to say, well, I'm not going to take 2 days to come back online, but it's going to take me 15, 20, half an hour. So that's what I need myself over HA of the WAN as first step. Would anybody else agree with that? That would be fine for most of the customers having 30 minutes or 20 minutes instead of having nothing.
No, why would it be completely different?
Well, it's about Cisco being able to produce a feature quick enough. So do you guys want a proper feature that takes X amount of years to come out, or do you want something quicker,
Well,
sooner?
I don't think, first of all, 6 to 9 years. I mean, it has been there for 9 years, so we're already past that. I think, to that gentleman's point, I mean, our expectation is that we would have HA behavior. Now, right now, we guarantee, for instance, 5-second recovery. Other the WAN is going to take longer. I mean, it may very well take longer. But we would expect the same HA behavior. With respect to your question of do they need UCM nodes at the same site as the failover, I believe the answer is yes, but I'm not expert enough. Is there anyone on the panel who deal with this?
Today, I think you can have at each side, you just have the PCI manager local to the express server. That's the requirement. So then, I think,
This isn't supported, so how can you this isn't supported today, so how can you say, you're saying that will be a requirement?
I'm saying that, actually, I'm not sure the implementation, when we do fail over, we're going to go look through the CCI manager as to where it used to be, or we're going to look for a local site.
PCI manager that Express talks to just has to be local. That's today. Yes, that request to be local.
Well, let's talk more broadly about what I think you're onto something. What my customers expect and what they're starting to do is they're creating DR sites effectively that are on their way.
That's
They're putting a call manager over there. They're putting a Unity over there. They can't put a contact center express server over there, and that creates an issue, I think, for a lot of the customer base. So there would be a CCI manager local to the site in this.
In that scenario, that would work, as far as I know. Now,
well, you wouldn't support that today, though, would you?
not today, because we don't have HA over the WAN.
Right.
Right. But in the HA over the WAN scenario, that is the deployment model. That is a deployment model we would support. And we would support that with cold standby today also.
So, I mean, from your perspective, Cisco, would you say it would take you longer to produce full HA than having a temporary solution to bring HA? Like, these are the caveats. If you want HA, you'd have to do X, Y, and Z to bring the full service back up.
There are no doubt going to be some caveats. We have a little bit of a disadvantage in that no one here on the panel is on the HA over the WAN design team, and I think what we're looking at here is trade-off issues. And I'm sorry, I'm not.
Would anyone in this room prefer to wait for a full solution or have something with future trade-offs where they might have manual intervention to get back up and running?
Well, before that, as far as the WAN links, mostly it's an issue with delay and the link being a small link. So what bandwidth and what delay would it be fair to say, if it's a fiber link and you have 15x, and the delay is of milliseconds, is that still considered a WAN link?
Yes, it is.
Different IPs and stuff like that. There's more.
Anything right now, as far as we're concerned, if it's not on a local LAN,
local subnet,
a local subnet, then it's a WAN.
Okay.
But then you can bridge what local subnets to make them look like they're.
I think the SRND actually says that's the only thing switch. I think that.
It says the same building, which is a
change. I think that
I got the same
also.
But my question is on the way for a full HA solution, where you guys were prepared to carry a temporary solution with manual intervention, if Cisco could deliver that earlier.
And what would manual intervention look like if that was the case?
User intervention.
What would it look like?
Reboot the server.
Reboot the server.
Because that's what the big proposal today. When you get brains that in CRS, you have to reboot the node manager, and then it'll come back online. So, because even if like the network cards are snapping and you're on the same switch, it's basically the same problem. But still.
So we're certainly interested in response on that.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you look at how enterprise does it, where the peripheral gateways need to be local to the CCI manager, they're not allowing JTAP over the WAN. I think it's probably more of, we're okay with not doing JTAP over the WAN. I think it's more of a fact that once we lose that link, what happens to agents on both sides, and then when that link comes back online, do the agents on the other side have to get back out of, their heading state and get logged into, get back logged into the primary HA server.
Right now, as far as we're concerned, the behavior would mimic what we have in HA today, which means you would be out of your ready state. You would be automatically logged in, so you'd have to set your state manually. And let me just say, with respect to JTAP over the WAN, some people also want that. That's not something we're so crazy about, but we do know some people want it. But if we do offer that, that would be post-HA over the WAN, where we would expect local CPI.
So the only option you have today for, so you lose your mid or IPCC expertise, the only option you have today is a cold standby?
It's cold standby, yes.
And So would, I guess, something like a BACD for just with limited functionality work for, I guess, for a customer who...
When you say basic ACD, you mean like as it's offered on UCME?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when you say will it work, what is the picture you have in mind?
For some sort of for customers who...
Well, you certainly, I mean, it does provide basic ACD. If you had it, you could manually fail over to it. There would be no way to capture CDR information for calls processed during the failover period, and there would be no way to sync any data that BACD acquired during that failover period back to Express. So you're talking about basically just having another ACD solution to manually fail over to in the interim. Yeah, sure, that would work.
Hey Terry, there's a question on the chat window. Can you talk a little bit about the possible releases that AT over the WAN might be introduced in?
The earliest possible release for AT over the WAN will be 8.0. It's now a stretch goal for that. So the status of 8.0 and concept committed in our two-stage process. The second stage execute committed, in which we actually close on all the features and staff those features. It won't occur until end of July, end of August timeframe.
And 8.0 is what, September?
8.0, yes, 8.0 is September calendar year 09 timeframe.
Okay.
Another one question as well. Yeah, that was mailed out for the support of hung groups on the IPD line for CCI failure. Like at the moment, I don't think hung groups on the IPD line is supported. Does anyone out here use hung groups to the CCI failure? So if the CCI fails, I mean, would that be once supported, or it's not even worth spending any time on it? Because someone emailed in a couple of questions saying it will work, but it's not supported.
Isn't that part of the peaceful call manager code that we talked about?
I have to check on that. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I remember last 2 years.
Hang on.
Someone here could trigger my brain, but wasn't there something you guys are calling peaceful call manager coexistence, where there would be...
Where we won't break it?
Essentially, it would mean, at least the way I interpreted your plan was, do whatever you want on the ICD line, we'll play nice with it. Did I interpret that?
Like I say, I'm going to have to go back and check. If somebody has specific questions or specific scenarios, I'll commit to going where you find the answer. Michael, do you know? Can we give Michael a microphone?
So also on that coexistence with COPS, the auto attendant, I think those stuff have been brought up in the past as well.
Yeah, so just quickly on the hunt groups, what I've seen is that they do work with it. The problem is when you're using the hunt groups when IPCC Express is running, and then you've got the conflicting things that cause problems. But I have seen customers use it when they've got their IPCC Express down for maintenance or something, and it doesn't really create a problem.
So the real problem, I think, is best practices in terms of how you manage the transition when Express comes back up. So.
Yeah.
Would everybody here want a best practice for using hunt groups for PCI failure? Does that work? Anyone show that? Can we add the point to this?
Okay, yeah, let's show that. Add that to us.
I hate to shift the focus, but I've been having a lot of problems with Calabrio and the interaction between Cisco and Calabrio, especially around undocumented features during installs. And then also now upgrades, trying to get it through the foot tool or anything like that.
Now, when you say Calabrio, which products are you referring to?
Specifically QM,
okay.
But I mean...
So I'll turn this mic over to Calabrio in just a moment, but let me address more broadly. The support model for Cisco, for Calabrio is our Cisco TAC, of course, is always the first point of contact, and then we escalate to Calabrio. So that's the actual TAC escalation process. With respect to being able to get put upgrades, did we ever close with Sergio or Michael Popovich in terms of whether he had an orderability issue with those SKUs?
We haven't heard back from Sergio, but I think...
No, it was Michael Popovich.
Yeah.
Let me take an action. Can somebody just take an action for me? and get this gentleman's email address, or what's the method by which we'll take action on this and respond back to this group? You haven't.
If we can just put it on this list, and then if the gentleman can come at the end and we'll grab your email address.
Okay, so the action, we do have all the SKUs for QM, AQM, and WFM to provide Cisco Product Upgrade Tool upgrades. And I thought that they were active, so I don't know. Okay. So let me find the issue. If you'll make sure you give us your email address, we'll get you going at least, and we'll figure out what the issue is. Thank you for raising that. Did you have did you have some questions for the Calabrio team specifically that you wanted to ask?
No, that was
okay. Okay, thank you.
And Terry, the issue around the quality management, advanced quality management SKUs input, that has been raised to support attention.
Right.
So that should be a matter of days. Thank you. I would have another question on the chat session. Someone in the audience is wondering about our roadmap around reporting and whether we have an alternative to crystal reports in the future.
Well, we certainly do, and we're very lucky here to have Paige Dell, who's the product manager. Chris Crosby is the product manager. That was great. Did you get that on the camera? She did that behind the camera, so you couldn't see it. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Chris.
Hi guys. So I'm not officially on the Express team. My role is as the site said. I work for Cisco. My employee number. So I am reporting and analytics strategy along with Paige Dell. Good dodge that. So we do have a strategy. Last fall, some of you guys may be aware that Cisco acquired a company called Labigent that did reporting in the call center space. And the first initiative was to get that product out for enterprise, which is happening in August. And Vince and Terry and myself, the roadmap for Express, so there are plans to bring that product down to the Express market. So I'm actually going to reverse the question and actually kind of get a show of hands from you guys on what the appetite would be for. So it will be an off-board reporting tool. So the Microsoft would require a separate server. And how bad, I guess, is the reporting, and just kind of some comments about what you guys would like to see in a product, and maybe even, what threshold of...
Who is sort of big reporting is slow? Raise of hand.
Slow as in it takes a while to run a report?
It takes like 2 hours to run a report.
Rif, can you ask how many are doing customer reporting?
How many doing?
Customer reporting.
Customer reporting.
Customer.
Okay.
Who's doing customer reporting?
121 page guide.
Is that in Crystal or are you using another tool?
Yeah, in Crystal.
Crystal. Okay. So, I'm sorry?
So we've done the same thing with Microsoft reporting services. Because it's all reporting.
Well, I guess to tie out the question officially, it isn't committed on the roadmap. We are targeting this calendar year to have an optional add-on product available that may slide into next year. And hopefully, since when do you think we'll have a committed date?
Probably August.
Okay. So by August, we'll work through it to get a message out on what the official plan is for that.
So what else do people want from reports? What is their biggest pain point? Apart from being slow, in my opinion.
So let me just ask Chris to address one thing about that migration, right? You want to go into how you could address that with the software solution?
Oh, for the data migration older version?
Yeah.
So the product that's coming up for enterprise and that we're designing for Express will actually have two components. There'll be a mini data mart for Express, so we'll go in and take all the call detail records and roll those up into summarized tables. So if you guys are familiar with the enterprise platform at all, we have half-hour summaries and daily summaries. So we'll create a similar, lighter weight version of that for Express, and that's where Intelligence Suite is the enterprise product. That's where the web reporting will get its data. So we won't be banging up against the CRS database any longer. And there will be the ability to archive, which is that data mart, to extract your old data, pull it into Archiver, and if that's your permanent reporting server, then it'll automatically pull in new stuff. So it's not the data migration tool that I think Terry has in his plans, but it is certainly an option.
Chris, would you just say anybody who's not familiar with intelligence center and wants some more detail, they would send an email to the others?
Yes.
Can you repeat that email?
Sorry. Anybody that would like additional information and has interest in reporting, shoot an email to the AOAS and we'll get the information out to you.
So, presently, is there any way to ease